The stench of stale beer and fear hung heavy in the air. A damp chill clung to the grimy brick walls, the alleyway a concrete tomb. A lone street lamp flickered, casting an unsteady light on the body sprawled beneath it. Detective Clara Monroe knelt beside the victim, her breath misting in the cold. Another night, another unfortunate soul. Detective Harris sighed, his gruff voice echoing in the silence. He was a veteran of the force, his face etched with the weariness of countless investigations. Clara adjusted her gloves, the leather cold against her skin. The victim was a young woman, her face pale and lifeless. A single stab wound marred the delicate skin of her neck, a crimson stain blooming on her white blouse. Her eyes, wide and vacant, stared up at the unforgiving city sky. "Any ID?" Clara asked, her voice betraying no emotion. She was young, her career just beginning, but a steely resolve masked any hint of fear or uncertainty. Harris grunted, holding up a worn leather purse. "Name's Lily Carter," he said, sifting through its contents. 22, lived a couple of blocks from here. Clara examined the victim's surroundings. Empty beer bottles and discarded newspapers littered the ground, testament to the city's indifference. The air itself seemed thick with unspoken secrets, the oppressive silence broken only by the distant wail of a siren. "There's something you don't see every day," Harris muttered, pointing to a shattered object lying near the body. It was a silver locket, broken open to reveal a faded photograph of a young girl with laughing eyes. Clara recognized the girl in the photograph instantly. A cold dread coiled in her stomach. It was Lily with her childhood friend, a friend who had become Clara's mentor in the force, a man she deeply respected. The city throbbed around them, a living entity pulsing with a million untold stories. Rain began to fall, a soft drizzle that threatened to wash away the last vestiges of life from the alleyway. Clara felt a chill run down her spine, and it wasn't just from the cold. "We need to get her out of here," Harris said, his voice tight. Even he, hardened by years on the force, seemed affected by the scene. The ambulance arrived, its lights painting the wet asphalt in strobing hues of red and blue. Paramedics moved with practiced efficiency, their faces grim masks of professionalism. The wail of the siren faded into the distance, leaving behind a silence that was somehow louder, more oppressive. Clara couldn't shake the image of the locket, the girl's smiling face a cruel mockery in the face of this tragedy. The victim was not just a case file, she was a life extinguished, a future stolen. And the face in the locket, the face of her mentor, haunted her thoughts. "There!" Harris exclaimed, pointing to a darkened storefront across the alley. "Security camera." The camera, barely visible in the shadows, offered a glimmer of hope. It was a long shot, but maybe, just maybe, it had captured something that could lead them to the killer. Hours later, back at the station, Clara sat hunched over the grainy footage. The images flickered on the screen, the alleyway coming to life in shades of gray. She watched as a figure, shrouded in darkness, approached Lily. The figure raised an arm, a glint of metal flashing in the dim light. Clara zoomed in on the figure, her heart pounding in her chest. And then the world seemed to tilt on its axis. The figure turned, and for a fleeting moment, the shadows shifted, revealing a face that sent a wave of nausea crashing over her. It was him, her mentor, the man she trusted, the man in the locket. The weight of the evidence pressed down on her, suffocating in its certainty. Her mentor, her friend, was a murderer. And Clara, the young detective, was faced with a dilemma that cut to the very core of her being.